back to Outlander Insider, where today we're talking all things Season 7, Episode 3. In the latest episode, Jamie and Claire face the aftermath of the fire, while Bree and Roger learn of their fates in the 20th century. As the Frasers scramble to put their lives back together, tragedy strikes thanks to a case of mistaken identity. Treasure is found, and Jamie and Claire make their way home to Bonnie, Scotland. Megan, welcome to this week's Outlander Insider.
Thank you. This episode has literally been very stressful for me, so I have a lot to talk about with this one.
I mean, we were talking about it earlier, and we were sort of laughing about just how much happens. What did you think of it?
Well, it's literally episode 3, and it's like they've already lost their home. You know, the home's burnt down. Bree and Roger have left. Poor Claire and Jamie basically have nothing, and now they're going to head back to Scotland. It's just like a complete 360 from like the 2 episodes we were in, like just before. So much has happened.
They don't have the easy time of it, do they?
No, and I don't think it's going to get easier, to be honest. I feel like there's going to be so much drama when they get to Scotland, because, I mean, we all remember how they left it in season 1, so...
Didn't they leave it because Jamie was like a wanted man, or were they just assuming that's gone away?
I think they just think, like, it's all blown over with Bonnie Prince Charlie, and, like, he's died, and like, no one remembers any of the stuff that happened there. And it's just... I just don't think this is the case. I think they're going into this quite naively.
It's all in the past. It's fine. I mean, well, let's talk about it then. Let's break it down. So obviously, when the episode started, Fraser's bridge is lost. It's been burned down. It was as a result of Brianna's matches. You know, that's what caused it to happen at that time, and not the time that was going to cause like Claire and Jamie's death. So Megan, for the first time, I think in the show's history, correct us, listeners, watchers, if we're wrong, they've actually managed to change history for the first time, or have they?
Well, this is the thing with Outlander. I feel like the timelines are always a bit confusing, and I don't think we know enough about time travel to really kind of know how much Bree made a difference. On one hand, I did think that Bree changed history, and I think it is, like you say, correct us if we're wrong, I think it is the first time that a character's changed history on the show. But at the same time, there's that moment where Claire kind of says, oh, the newspapers never get it right. So I kind of just think also, maybe Bree didn't really change history. Who knows? Maybe, Claire and Jamie would have escaped a fire like months later. So it's kind of hard to tell. And I feel like Claire and Jamie always escape out of a bad situation. So I never believed they were dead. Back in season 4 or 5, I think it was, when Bree learned that they were going to die. I didn't believe that for a second.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting that you say that like, I kind of like forgot about that there was that line that was like, oh, newspapers always get it wrong. Because it's kind of like giving a reason for us all not to get really lost in the time travel element of it. Because I was thinking like, well, are they going to like look for the newspaper article? Is the newspaper article still going to be there? Or have they changed the space-time continuum or whatever? But Claire just seemed like, newspapers get it wrong sometimes, kind of allows that to carry on existing with like a reason for it, like a thin reason, but a reason.
Yeah, I mean, with Outlander anyway, we've had people like seemingly die and then come back, because they maybe exist in the future. Like that, we had that with was it Gillis from the earlier seasons? How she existed in the 60s and met Brianna, but she'd already technically died in the past. So you never really know with Outlander, like what's true, and if I don't believe anything at face value with Outlander.
Speaking of people dying, R.I.P. Mrs. Bug. Megan, can you explain to me? I'm so sorry. What was the gold that Mr. and Mrs. Bug were trying to that they hid and like Jamie very much disapproved of? What was that?
Yeah, do you know, I got really confused with that too, and I had to kind of do a little bit of delving into the books. I did like a quick bit of research because I felt like the gold came out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but apparently in the book series at least, the gold is the lost Jacobite gold that Jamie's aunt Jocasta had. And apparently what happened was that gold got divided. Myrta took some and some other people took some as well. And now it's got into the hands of the Bugs. But it's supposed to be some sort of ancient Scottish legend of this gold that was never found. And now, as we know, Jamie and Claire have found it. And it looks like it's going to Bree and Roger, which would be great if they buy Lallybrook.
So it's actually technically Jamie's, from his Aunt Jocasta, would we say?
I believe so, but at the same time, Jamie was kind of a hypocrite. I mean, I don't like to trash talk my man Jamie.
No,
but
we do sometimes.
He literally said, we do sometimes, but he did say to Bug, a man who steals from a thief becomes a thief himself. yeah, he has taken said treasure from said thief and become a thief himself because he's just given it to his family in the future. So Jamie, I mean,
this is why I was thinking, though. This is why I'm like, okay, can we excuse Jamie for this? Because it should be his, because it belonged to his aunt.
yeah, technically, it all goes, how far back do you want to go? Does it even belong to Bonnie Prince Charlie, even though he's dead, and his family? And technically it's Scotland's treasure. So who does it really belong to? So it's a really weird one, but I did think Jamie had slightly skewed ideas in that
I love
scene.
as well that Jamie is very much like, do as I say, not as I say, about a lot of things. Like, a lot of things.
I do think when it comes to family, though, he's like, oh, I'll do whatever. Like, if Claire was in danger, he'd be like, I will kill every man, woman, and child in this room to get to her. Like, he skews it with the family, and he's doing it for Brie and Roger, I guess.
Once again, there is a murder on Fraser's Ridge. Like, Mrs. Book is dead, and it's like, what? Is no one gonna like make the correlation to how many people die around the Frasers?
There's a lack of security on Fraser's Ridge. I think it's something that needs to be looked into. I mean, there seems to be no outs of an investigation. We're just still kind of ignoring it.
No reaction
and they're all buried
to it
in the
as
back.
well. With the exception of young Ian, who did do a very good job of clearly being very guilty about accidentally killing Mrs. Book. Their reaction really reminded me of that like meme that's like, that's sad. Anyway.
It's like they're so used to killing people and just burying them on the ridge now that it's just like, it's like having a cup of tea. Yeah. It really is no different to them. They're just like, oh, well.
Very ominous from Mr. Bug about how he's going to wait until Ian's got... For a second, I thought the dog was going to die, so thank God. But he's very much going to wait until Ian's in a place where he's happy and ruin it for him. So I'm looking forward to it. Do you think that's going to come back to show itself?
I think we actually are going to see Mr. Bug be a bit of a villain in this series. And I think he's potentially going to follow Ian into the next one if he doesn't get him by the end of season 7.
Well, they're off to Scotland. So Mr. Bug would have to follow them to Scotland to get to enact this revenge. By the way, do you think the reason that they are going to Scotland is a dumb one?
Well, yes and no, because on one hand, I'm like, I get it. They've lost everything. And, there is the idea of they actually just need a home. But they are intending on going back to Fraser's Ridge and building somewhere else one day. But this idea about Ian and Jenny being reunited, okay, he made this promise. But he didn't seem to care about that promise when Fraser's Ridge was like well and standing. He made that promise years ago and he's not fulfilled it for years anyway.
He's not fulfilled it at all. He's in rubbish. Like he let Ian like replace Roger with the Mohawks, which ended up working out really well. But there was no element of like, I made a promise to your mother to return you to Scotland. There was none of that. Like he was literally just like, okay, see you later. And then there hasn't been anything for years. Like, haven't they been in America for years now? So this is the thing with Jamie. I think Jamie's a hypocrite. Saying it.
It does feel like a slight plot hole for me. I mean, I'm really excited for them to go back to Scotland because I so miss that kind of nostalgic sense at Lallybroch that we got in season 1. Like, I loved all the characters in Scotland. I'm excited to see Jenny again and see all the rest of the Frasers. But, at the same time, it is a slight plot hole. I mean, Jamie could have fulfilled that promise years ago. Doesn't even write to Jenny. The poor gal's been sat at Lallybroch waiting to hear about, her brother and her son.
You're so right. So it's a bit of a cop-out reason, but maybe they just needed a reason to bring the action back to Scotland. And you know what? I'm delighted that they have. By the way, is this the first episode that has legitimately confirmed that Jamie is dreaming of the future? And are we just going to, not talk about that? Because what, you can see the future now. Like, I know there's, an element of fantasy in this show, right? Sure, they're all time travelers. But Jamie's always been the one that's he's just from the past and he can't get through the stones. There's nothing mystical about him. Why is he dreaming about the 20th century? And, why is Claire just oh, it's called a telephone? Yeah. Why is she not what is this? Why would you know?
I know.
What's going on?
I mean, it's very odd. I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I'm not sure, if in the first episode of season 3, we hear Jamie speak about having another dream where he sees Claire in a bright light. And I think she says it sounds like electricity. I think they hint it a little bit, but I think the telephone was the first, real thing. So it's how on earth could someone imagine a telephone when they've never seen it? That concept is so far removed from Jamie's time.
Exactly.
So I think it's the biggest confirmation. But it just opens up, I think, for me, more confusion. Because if Jamie can see the future, that says to me there's something magical about Jamie. And if Jamie's magical, why can't he go through the stones?
Why can't he go through the stones? Why can't he go through the stones? Everyone else can. Has he tried? Have we even seen him try? Like, maybe he's just never had a gem. Because thank you, by the way, everyone who commented after episode 1 about how there was a gem every time one of them went through the stones. That was really helpful. Has he tried it with a gem? Are we not?
This is the thing. I feel like Jamie's just like decided, I can't go through. It seems to be this like big unspoken rule that Jamie can't go through the stones. But like you say, I don't feel there's massively concrete proof here. Why can't he go through? Give it a go. Get a stone. I don't get it.
Gotta say, what would he even do in the 20th century? Like, that is a man who is a product of his time, for sure. Like, what, like...
True. I think, Jamie would not like it. I think Jamie would feel very out of place. But I do think, though, Bri and Roger being in the future now, it makes sense. And I think it suits them. And obviously, it made a lot of sense with Mandy having the heart defect.
Absolutely. I just think that was really cool. And I really like how they're doing the plot as well of, like, Brianna and Roger reading the letters and then getting to that part of the story back in the past. And it's a really clever, like, storytelling vehicle to be using. Yeah, and it's really interesting because it's going to see, like, we're watching it unfold as... Brianna and Roger does, although I do quite like it that Brianna was like, let's not read them all at once. I was like, plot, because plot.
I would be tempted if I were Brianna, though, to read ahead and see when the last letter's dated, because then I'd feel like I had an indication of how long I'd had my parents for in the past.
Absolutely. Like, you just know that they're going to go back to something or other, though. They're not staying in the 20th century.
I think they have to. I think it's broken Claire and Jamie too much leaving them. They've got to have their grandkids back and their children back.
I know. Oh, well, so. I mean, speaking of their children, there is still one that's hanging around, but that is William, who is Jamie's secret illegitimate son, that young Ian knows the true parentage of. We found out today. Do you think that William himself will ever learn that Jamie is his father?
I kind of have this theory that every time they tell someone new that William is Jamie's son, that it's just like foreshadowing what's to come. I think it's just like they keep telling more and more people, and then once enough of their close circle know, I feel like that's when he's going to find out inevitably, just because it seems to be going that way. The secret is getting far less, I don't know, it's going out further and further, and it has to reach him in the end. I mean, surely, even if it's just a mistake and someone says it by accident, it has to come out.
I was just thinking, like, maybe it's going to be one of these situations where he nearly kills Jamie, and then someone's like, no, he's your father. Like in EastEnders, where...
I really hope that doesn't happen, though, because it would just give me the whole Star Wars, like, Luke, I am your father. Like, I don't want to see that. I just want Outlander to do it differently.
That is what we are gearing up to, surely. We're surely gearing up to a dramatic reveal.
Yeah, and do you know what? I have no idea why. I'm probably going to be completely wrong here. If I had to say who I think will spill the beans, whether intentionally or not, I just feel like Claire's going to do it. Because I think she's got that maternal way that she could explain it to him and be like, he loved you, but he had to, give you up because of the circumstances and how you were born and your mother and the whole thing with the Earl going a bit crazy and trying to kill him.
Yeah. Also, Claire is messy and loves drama, so definitely going to be her.
Yeah, Claire's like at the she's at the forefront, isn't she? Like, as soon as there's drama, Claire's like,
What? Hey, let's hear it.
Yeah, sorry.
What?
Nowhere. Honestly, she's always there helping dig the graves, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
I felt like, the scene in this episode where Jamie's like, why can't you just not help a man when he's, when he needs help, sort of thing. She's like, I can't not help. That for me was Claire being like, I can't not get involved with drama, Jamie. Yeah. Like, I can't.
Always have to be involved.
She's actually like, I'm the problem.
It's me. Hi.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, so predictions for episode 4. What do we think?
I think we're going to see Ian grappling so much more with his guilt. I don't think that, he's just going to get over it as Claire does. I think that it's going to haunt him a bit. But I think seeing him back in Lallybroch, assuming that the next episode they go straight to Lallybroch and we don't have an episode of them sort of travelling there.
Well, if they do, they will get shipwrecked and they will deal with disease on the ship. And
have they learned nothing at this point? We've just got off the ship. We can't be back on
Hopefully.
No, I just want them.
We can only hope that they will skip 3 months ahead and just be back in Lallybroch. Please.
Just get there safely. But I think that the reunion is going to be really interesting. Because also, if you think about it, really, they did leave Scotland, and then Claire left Jamie for like 20 years. And then she came back. So the reunion itself is so many years in the making.
Right.
You know, they haven't seen each other in decades. I think it's going to be a bit awkward, a bit strange. And I wonder if Jenny's going to have some words for Jamie, because she hasn't seen her son in like 20 years.
I haven't seen him in a really long time yet. I don't think, has it been 20 years?
Yeah, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I was going to say, I think, if not the next episode, then definitely in our episode, there is no way that Brianna and Roger are not digging up that Jacobite gold. No way. That's happening.
There's no way. I feel like as soon as they saw this like for sale sign at Lallybroch, I was practically seeing like pound signs in Roger's eyes, like the Jacobite gold. How would they not?
Literally.
I mean, come on. It seems too convenient to me that this ancient treasure pops up at the same time that Lallybroch goes on the market.
All worked out. Fate.
Perfect storm. Getting on the property ladder, smells Jacobite gold. It's just very convenient.
That's the thing with a show like this. Even though you can be like, wait, what? It's like, but it's fate. It's fate. Thank you so much for joining us for our Outlander Insider Chat. Do leave your comments below. We love hearing from you. Please answer our questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe and head over to hellomagazine.com for more info on Outlander. And we will see you next week. Bye.